Right now, to lead off the top of the show, I'm very excited to have our first guest. He's a former Occupy Wall Street activist. He was a Bernie delegate in 2016. He got his law degree, and now he helps out his community in the Bronx. He's a first generation American born to Dominican parents, and he's running for city council in New York City. And that's why I wanted to have him on. He's a real progressive. Now, I know I'm gonna butcher his name, but it's Randy Abreu. Randy, is that how you say your name?
That's perfect, Jimmy. Randy Abreu.
Oh, fantastic. Now, thanks for making time for us. What brought you to my attention was, in fact, I don't think we met last year at the convention. Did we, Randy?
I don't think we came across each other. I know the great Jimmy Dore, but I didn't get to meet you.
Okay, so this video of the person you're running against, and I'm gonna play this for you. And he talks about it's harder to be rich. And so I'm gonna play this video, and then I wanna get your reaction to it. Okay, here we go.
Do you know it's harder being rich than being poor? I know you don't believe what I just said. But being rich, you got more responsibility. You have more things. When you work 9 to 5 and you just maintaining, okay, I got my thing. When you are rich, you have more things to worry. Millionaire people, they have a lot of stuff to worry about, more stuff to manage, more stuff. It's really got there because of their ability to handle more pressure. Every CEO, every president, they got in there and stay there is because of their ability to handle pressure. They had increased their capacity. You know why your boss pays you what he pays you? Because of your capacity.
Wow, so he's right. All those millionaires got there because of their ability. Just ask George Bush, Chelsea Clinton, or Luke Russert.
Hey man, wait a minute now. George Bush, you know how hard it was for his dad to get him into Yale with his C average and then let him not have to go in the Vietnam War and cover up his cocaine and his DUIs, and you know how hard that is?
It was hard.
And it's like these rich people, it's like who's gonna feed the polo horses? Do you know what I mean? Like this is like how.
So Randy, let me get Randy's reaction to that, because that's the gentleman you're running against, correct?
That's my opponent. That's been my community's council member for the last 8 years. It still gets my blood boiling every time I watch that. I think like, oh yeah, of course. What color BMW are we gonna buy this week? Where are we gonna vacation this Christmas? These are the tough decisions, and it completely goes over everyone's head, because the worst part about it is he's saying that in the district he represents, we are one of the poorest districts in America. And that's not to say the Bronx is full of blight and it's awful over here. There's a lot of potential, there's a lot of opportunity, but if we don't have a leader that's looking towards the bottom and can identify what's good about us, then we're not going anywhere. So when we have a leader that apologizes for the rich, feeds us corporate Democratic talking points saying like, look how hard these people have it, and those at the bottom aren't really working hard enough. They don't want it. They just want to continue to receive what they want. I don't think that's true. I think every person that I meet here in the Bronx has a great story. Every person that I meet here in the Bronx has goals and has dreams. But if we're continuously fed these stories that you're not working hard enough, it's your fault. You don't have the capacity. And our self-esteem is gonna drop. You see that with voter turnout. You see that with career attainments. And you see that with educational attainments, where we don't have anyone inspiring us to work harder. And that leads us to where we are right now. It's disgusting that this person would say that and still lead us into city council. It's clear that we need to get him out.
So how does that happen? How does someone who's from the Bronx, who garners enough votes and support from other people in the Bronx, to say something like that? What happened to him, do you think? Did the donors get to him? Is that what happened?
Yeah, exactly, Jimmy. Follow the money, follow the money. It's crazy that we say this all the time, follow the money, and we are the ones that do the actual research and we show everyone this is where the money is. In 2013, when my opponent ran for re-election, he was funded handsomely by the Real Estate Board of New York.
Oh.
And this is the same Real Estate Board of New York, the special interest of New York City that controls politicians, that makes things move in their favor so that their profits expand. At the same time, you have a councilman who represents one of the poorest communities, where development is making its way here, where the rents are increasing to a point where nothing is affordable for us anymore. So who does he represent? the people that voted him in, the 7% turnout of people that voted him in, or the real estate Wall Street guys downtown that fund him in his elections. It's easy for me to see who he represents.
Wow. Okay, so that makes sense. What do people say about, like, I don't mean to harp on his one statement for the whole interview. We won't. We'll move on after this, I promise. And we're going to get to your agenda. But how did the people? Were you there that night he said that? And if you weren't, how did the people react that you talked to afterwards who've seen this video?
There are two sides to this story, because he did say that at a sermon in his church a few months ago. I wasn't there. He himself puts the videos online. He live streams this thing. It's not like this was gotcha journalism. You're seeing the man who represents us. This is truly who he is. And the people that were in the church that day, some of them I have spoken to, some of them say, look, yeah, I did find that repulsive when I heard it. Other people who have followed him for over a decade now just say, that's just the kind of person he is. Rich people do have hard lives. What are you complaining? So these are poor people who are buying into what he's saying. And then anyone else, mind you, it's again, 8% voter turnout there. It's about 90% of the people, 160,000 residents in this district. There's about 90% of the people that don't know who he is. And that's not a mistake. In my opinion, that is social engineering at its best.
So they want him to fly underneath the radar so he can keep being reelected by that same 8% of the people who show up to vote. So what is your plan now? How do you plan to get more people out to the polls?
We've identified, we call them prime voters, people that continuously come out and vote in elections. We've identified them, we've given them our message while comparing myself to the incumbent. A lot of people have said they want to go with us. Even people that said that they voted for him before are voting for us now. In that same vein, we have to continue in the promise of what Senator Sanders started last year. And we're building momentum. We're building a political future that we all want to see, that we know is best for ourselves. And we're getting people registered to vote. Only 64% of people in my district were registered to vote before this campaign. We'll see where the numbers are after this campaign, but we registered hundreds of people throughout this campaign. And continue to share the message. Young people, older people, the community has different issues that relate to everyone, especially when you get above anyone over 40 years old. Affordable housing is the biggest issue in our community. And that goes right back to the real estate lobby that has the incumbent, the guy I'm up against, he's in their pocket.
So what can you do to affect housing prices in the Bronx? What can you do as a city council person?
There's one major project that's happening that this is where we can actually get it done. And this is where we can have a vision, move forward, and do it in a way that no one else is talking about, because we ourselves, my campaign, we're not beholden to the real estate interest. We have the interest of the community. This project is called Jerome Avenue rezoning. Anyone from New York City, especially anyone from the Bronx, knows the 4 train that takes you to Yankee Stadium. It rides in the Bronx along Jerome Avenue. The entire corridor of Jerome Avenue, basically the entire thing, will be rezoned from auto mechanic shops to residential buildings. New York City, the mayor, all of the agencies call the apartments that are coming in affordable. When you look deeper into the policies of what they count as affordable housing, you'll see that to qualify for many of these apartments, you'll need to have an income of $35,000, $40,000 a year and up. It's no secret that here in my district, the average salary falls somewhere around $25,000 a year for a household of 3 or 4. So we don't qualify for some of these apartments that are going to open up. We don't qualify for any of these apartments that are going to open up. So when you build these apartment buildings in our community and you call them affordable, the real question is affordable for who? It's not affordable for us. And we can't stay in the buildings we're in now because current laws in New York State don't allow us to lower the rent, and it's getting more and more difficult to freeze the rent. So these new apartment buildings, they create the big opportunity. It's the great change that we can have here in the Bronx. But if we don't have a leader in office that's going to talk about the policies behind inclusionary affordable housing, we're not going to get anywhere. What I want to do is bring deeper levels of affordability, make sure that everyone that's currently in the district who makes anywhere between $15,000 to $30,000 a year, which is over half of us, actually gets an apartment to stay in moving forward. And that's just a housing crisis. We have a small business crisis going on. Same culprit, real estate and landlord lobby doesn't want to continue to spend live. And then we just have no vision for the future of our community. If we have all of these young people who want to aspire to be engineers, scientists, technicians, lawyers, why don't we focus on their future? Why don't we invest in their future and make sure that they can live their best life? These are the issues that we've been bringing up during the campaign, things that no one has been talking about, especially the incumbent, the man I'm up against. 8 years in office, he's seen our incomes decrease. He's seen poverty increase, and asthma has increased in our community. This is all since he took office in 2010 at the height of the Great Recession. So when Bernie Sanders talks about, look, since the Great Recession, income disparities have increased. The rich, the 1%, they're getting wealthier, and the poor, they're actually getting poorer. I'm seeing it every day in my community. And I can't stand to see that. I can't stand to see us fail. We've seen it happen in other parts of the country. I've seen it happen in other parts of New York City. And we're going to take a stand. And that's why this election means so much.
Hey, if you enjoyed this clip of Aggressive Progressive, why not become a member of the TYT network, and you can watch the whole hour. You know, we do a show every Thursday, and then you can watch it live when it happens as a member, or you can watch it later at your convenience because you get access to the podcast of Aggressive Progressive and other ways to get a hold of it. There's lots of stuff. Come become a member at tytnetwork.com/join.